An interesting thing that didn't really occur to me till today is that in Brave New World, when you look at the contrast between the Savage Reservation, which is this native Indian reservation that has basically sustained and preserved a lot of aspects of the older kind of society and the natural world, the belief in the family unit, marriage, more traditional things, like traditional is the key word here, and religion. And on the other hand, the Brave New World, the what is considered the civilized world, is all about technological control, and people not being allowed, not allowed to be in solitude, having to conform. And I think what's interesting to me is that usually when you imagine a society trying to break out of customs or break out of tradition or break out of any kind of spiritual belief system, you kind of imagine a society or a group of sort of unruly, almost arguably sometimes hoodlum-like characters. You imagine, or you imagine something that would simulate anarchy to begin with. That, and it does bring to mind something that I also mentioned about Fahrenheit 451, which is that a lot of the things in the curriculum of the school of education in Fahrenheit 451 simulate anarchy, even though overall the system is not anarchic, right? But part of the curriculum is indeed kids being allowed to go and wreak havoc and smash up cars and all that ridiculous kind of nonsense. And people are also sort of have content to live these very mediocre lives and be average. And so it seems as if the Fahrenheit 451, that world, is at least a very early precursor, somewhere on the evolutionary path to what Brave New World is. Because first, I would imagine you would need is a kind of at least a simulation of anarchy, right? Maybe it may not be anarchy in the true sense of the word, but I would imagine that was grooming people to get away from that, from tradition, from the family unit, through these very trivial forms of freedom that are not really freedom, but they're like basically giving an animal a toy to play with or something, right? And then over time, eventually the rejection of customs then turns into a world where everybody conforms and everybody does exactly what they are told, and that's one of the reasons why I would say that I think that the story of Fahrenheit 451 is really like the underpinning of what would come next, right? It's first people would have to settle for less, but then they could then after that they could get baited into this really extravagant and really beautiful and very shallow kind of system where people might be fairly intelligent. That's another thing, but not intelligent in a way that could actually create any wisdom or really be able to serve them.